There is Amy's friend saying that Todd is a person you don't want to mess with. She's getting into talking about his character, the relationship issues they were having. Latonia Hines with us here. Latonia, what do you think of this witness?
Oh, she's a great witness. She gives you the state of mind of the wife and how she was feeling, and the fact that she was scared, and that she knew that if he knew about this affair, that he would become enraged. And so as we learn the information that he does find out about the affair, because she had had affairs before, and he finds out about it, it gives you more reason of a motive for him to have gotten so angry that he did indeed kill her on this day.
Exactly. And the defense here is saying that Mullis didn't do it. They're not saying it was an accident, though. They're just saying that someone else killed her. So this is interesting because they've sort of shifted gears here. Matt Mangino is with us as well right now. Matt, what do you think of that claim by the defense? Do you think it's working?
Well, you know, it's obviously inconsistent with what Mullis originally said. He said that it appeared that it was an accident, that she fell on this pitchfork, and now all of a sudden, when it comes to light that there were more than just 4 puncture wounds, that she didn't fall on this accidentally. Well, now it's a murder, but he's not the person who's responsible, although clearly by the evidence presented by this witness that we just heard, he has a motive to be a killer.
Right. All right. Well, let's go on and listen to more from this witness, because there is more about this relationship. Okay, so this is interesting because we're hearing more about Tristan, who is their son, and the relationship between him and his father, Todd. Terry says that they were becoming very close and they were doing a lot more activities together. He was even missing school to hang out with him. So this is interesting because, Katie, you know, does this allude to maybe that Todd was getting close to his son to potentially keep this relationship tight to help him out down the road?
Absolutely. I think that that's exactly the inference that could be drawn from this. And I was really drawn to when the witness said that he was becoming super dad. It's almost like he was trying to emerge and forge these super strong relationships with his son, because obviously if you buy that he was planning this murder, you know that he was planning it with his son there. And his son would have been one, and in fact was, one of the main witnesses. So if you believe that he's as devious as the prosecution is putting him out to be, then this absolutely shows more planning.
All right, Katie, thanks. So a great witness here. Matt, I'll come out to you. Do you agree with that? I mean, do you see this same sort of relationship building on his part that he's trying to cover himself later with?
Well, it seems almost as though it's a sort of macabre form of grooming his son to be supportive of him, so that you know, he could use him possibly as an alibi. You know, here I'm with my son, my wife is killed or accidentally killed, and my son is going to be supportive of me because we have such a close relationship, a close, loving, active relationship. It may be a form of grooming.
All right, Matt, thank you. And welcome back to Law and Crime. We're still following the trial of Todd Mullis out of Iowa. He's accused of killing his wife with a corn rake because he found out about an affair. Yesterday, we heard from the victim, Amy Mullis's friend, Terry Stanner. She has let us in to some shocking and a lot of details about Amy coming to her for support and advice about the affair she was having. We just spoke about how she described the relationship between Todd and their son Tristan getting closer right before she was killed. Now, my guest here alluded to maybe that was Todd getting his son on his side to potentially cover for him or help him out later on down the road. Latonia Hines, prosecutor, with us. I want to ask you this. Take the other side. We heard these details from the friend Terry here. Could these details that we heard about the relationship between Todd and Tristan getting tighter, could that help the defense?
Yes, and I would speak as my former time as being a defense attorney. One of the things you would say is that because he cared so much for his son and they were having such a close relationship, that would lend and tend to the idea that he wouldn't do something like this where his son would be the one who discovered his mother, how traumatic that would be when they've become so close, and that it would tend to believe that it could have possibly been somebody else, but he would not put his son through that. So that's something as a defense attorney you might want to use and change around, because that's some really, that testimony was very powerful from the friend of the wife.
All right, well, let's go on and listen to the next part of the testimony from Terry. She goes on to mention that Amy was talking about rumors spreading about their affair and how she wanted them to be done with. She wanted these rumors to be kiboshed. Let's listen. Wow. Okay. So a lot of details coming from this testimony. Again, this is Amy Mullis, the victim's friend here, Terry, and we see these text messages between the two. We also heard her say that she's got to go confront Todd about all of this, but she said she needed to bring someone with her because she just felt something maybe could go wrong. We also saw the text that was accidentally sent to Amy, but it was intended for their son, that said, "Don't go with your mom. She's crazy." Amy even told her friend where to look for her if she went missing. So this is all pretty explosive here. Matt Mangino, what do you make of all this?
Well, it certainly sets a framework up wherein the victim is afraid of her husband, has specific concerns that she could even be murdered. You know, where to look for my body in the event I disappear. So I think this is really important evidence that shows that there was a rift between the husband and wife, and that she potentially was the victim of his conduct because of his jealousy over these affairs.
Right. This is all very different from what Todd explained to police earlier. All right, let's go to the cross-examination of Terry Stanner again. This is the same witness. Let's listen. All right, so that's the cross-examination that we hear of Terry Stanner. Katie, what do you think of the cross? Do you think that they did a good job with this? Anything else you would have done?
You know, they didn't have too much to work with because she really does come across as very authentic, and there are all these text messages. I mean, I thought that they did a good point of saying, you know, how controlling could he possibly have been if she was able to essentially have 100 rendezvous with this other guy? I mean, that was a pretty good point. I mean, I think also just the sense that, you know, there's not really a history of any type of domestic violence other than this like rough sex incident. And also I would have hammered home, he knew that she had cheated before, and he didn't do anything about it before. So what happened that made this so much more different? I actually think the history of the prior cheating and the fact that there wasn't any attempted murder before is a good fact for the defense.
Right. Maybe they'll bring that up later on, because that is a great point, as you said. All right. Thank you so much, Katie. Coming up, we're going to hopefully go back live to Granville Ritchie's trial in Florida. That should resume here soon enough. But stay with us on Law and Crime. Plenty more when we come back.